You've probably heard that horses only sleep standing up, right? Well, it's not entirely true. In fact, there are a lot of common myths about horses that people still believe, like how horses can't feel pain like we do, or that you can tell a horse's age just by looking at their teeth. But here's the real question. How many of these myths have you been believing all this time? Stick around, because today, we're busting 10 horse myths that everyone still believes. And trust me, some of them will surprise you. Myth number 1. Horses only sleep standing up. Ah yes, the classic. How many times have you heard someone say, horses only sleep standing up because they can't lie down? Well, let me be the first to tell you, that's not entirely true. Yes, horses can sleep standing up, but that doesn't mean they never lie down. In fact, they do need to lie down to enter the deeper stages of REM sleep, the kind that lets them fully recharge. It's just that horses have an incredible ability to lock their knees and relax their muscles while standing, which allows them to take quick naps throughout the day. Think of it like a quick power nap for your horse. They'll often stand and rest for short periods, but when it's time for a deep sleep, they'll hit the ground for some good old-fashioned snoozing. So next time you see your horse standing still for a while, don't assume they're in a deep sleep. They're just in a light power nap mode. Myth number 2. A horse won't eat if they're sick. This one's been around for years, and it's a common misconception. While it's true that horses can lose their appetite when they're unwell, they don't always follow the rule that no appetite means illness. Sometimes, a horse may refuse to eat because of stress, changes in their environment, or even boredom. Horses are creatures of habit, so when there's a disruption, say a new horse in the barn or a change in routine, they may get a little fussy and lose interest in their food. It doesn't automatically mean they're sick. Of course, if your horse is consistently refusing food and showing other signs of illness, like lethargy or weight loss, that's a red flag, and it's always best to call the vet. But just because your horse skips a meal now and then doesn't mean something's seriously wrong. Myth number 3. You can tell how old a horse is by their teeth. This one seems like it should be true, right? After all, we all know that teeth give us a good indication of age in people. But for horses, it's not quite that simple. Yes, horses' teeth can give some clues about their age, but it's not a perfect science. The myth that you can simply look at a horse's teeth and determine their exact age is, well, a little oversimplified. The reality is that while the angle of their teeth can give an estimate, and younger horses will have smoother, more even teeth, other factors like diet, wear, and overall health can make it tricky to pinpoint a horse's age just by looking at their teeth. If you want to get an accurate idea of your horse's age, it's best to rely on their dental history or ask a vet for a more detailed examination. So, while horse teeth can give you some clues, don't bet your life on them. Myth number 4. Horses can't see in color. It's a commonly held belief that horses see the world in black and white, but recent studies have shown that's not quite the case. Horses can see color. They just see it differently than humans. While we have 3 types of color receptors, red, green, and blue, horses have only 2, which means they can see colors, but not with the same range or intensity as humans. For example, horses are more sensitive to blue and green shades and may have trouble distinguishing between red and green. So, the next time you're choosing a blanket for your horse, don't assume that just because they're not looking at the bright red one doesn't mean they can't see it. They might not be in love with the color, but they can definitely see it. Myth number 5. Horses can't feel pain like humans do. Now, this myth is dangerous. It's one of the most harmful misconceptions about horses and their health. Some people think that horses don't feel pain the way humans do. That's completely false. Horses feel pain in much the same way we do. They have the same nerve endings, the same responses to injury, and the same ability to suffer. The difference is that horses are masters at hiding pain. It's part of their survival instinct. In the wild, showing pain can make them vulnerable to predators, so they've evolved to mask it. But just because a horse isn't immediately showing signs of distress doesn't mean they're not in pain. It's crucial for owners to pay attention to more subtle signs like changes in behavior, posture, or movement, as these can often be indicators of discomfort. Myth number 6. A horse's mane and tail should be trimmed regularly to stay healthy. Here's a myth that gets passed around a lot. Trim your horse's mane and tail regularly to keep them healthy. The idea is that if you don't keep your horse's mane and tail trimmed, they'll get tangled and messy, right? Wrong. In reality, horses' manes and tails are a natural part of their body, and they're designed to grow long and wild. Trimming them too frequently can actually lead to damage, because you're cutting away the horse's natural protection against weather, insects, and debris. Of course, if the mane or tail gets so tangled that it's affecting their movement or comfort, a trim is needed. But just for cosmetic reasons, not so much. A healthy mane and tail should be left to grow naturally. Plus, letting it grow allows the horse to retain its natural defenses and keeps them more comfortable. Myth number 7. You can tell a horse's personality based on its breed. People love making assumptions about horses based on their breed. Oh, that one's a thoroughbred, so it must be high-strung and fast. Or, that's a quarter horse. They're always calm and friendly. While it's true that certain breeds may have general tendencies, this is one of the most misleading myths in the horse world. Horses, like people, have individual personalities. While some breeds may have genetic traits that make them more prone to certain behaviors, personality is largely shaped by a combination of genetics, upbringing, training, and experiences. Just because a horse is a certain breed doesn't automatically mean it will be calm, hot-headed, or anything else. Think of it this way. There are plenty of thoroughbreds who are as mellow as a pony and quarter horses that could give you a run for your money. The personality of a horse should be evaluated based on their individual traits, not simply their breed. Myth number 8. Horses can't be left alone without becoming anxious. How many times have you heard someone say, "Don't leave your horse alone. They'll get so stressed out." Sure, horses are social creatures, but the idea that horses can't be left alone at all is one big myth. Yes, some horses can get anxious when they're isolated, but that's not true for all of them. In fact, many horses are perfectly content being alone for a short time. It all depends on the individual horse's personality and what they're used to. It's the same as people. Some like being around others all the time, while some prefer solitude. Horses that are used to being alone or have been trained to tolerate solitude can be just fine in a stall or pasture by themselves for a period. If your horse is consistently anxious when alone, it could indicate deeper emotional or behavioral issues, and you may want to look into training or management solutions. So while you shouldn't just toss your horse in a field and forget about them, horses can actually handle some alone time just fine if they're accustomed to it. Myth number 9. Horses can't remember people after a long time. This one is more common than you'd think, the idea that a horse will forget you if you haven't seen them for a while. The myth goes that horses just have short-term memories and can't recall people they haven't interacted with in weeks or months. But here's the truth. Horses have an excellent memory, and they remember people just as well as they remember other animals. Horses can recognize and remember individuals, even if they've been separated for quite a while. They don't forget your scent, your voice, or your body language. In fact, horses have been known to remember their favorite humans even after years of not seeing them, and they'll often react differently to someone they know versus a stranger. So, if you think your horse won't recognize you after a long break, think again. When you walk back into the barn, your horse remembers exactly who you are, and that connection is deep. Myth number 10. A horse needs a stall to be happy. A lot of people think that horses need to be kept in a stall at night, out of the weather and the elements, but that's not always the case. While stalls provide a controlled environment, many horses are just as happy, if not more so, living outside in a pasture. In fact, being outside is often the most natural and healthiest living arrangement for horses. They're designed to roam and graze. As long as they have access to shelter, food, and fresh water, a horse can live comfortably outside in most climates. A stall should never be a horse's permanent living space unless it's absolutely necessary for medical or environmental reasons. When horses are kept in stalls all the time, they can become frustrated, bored, or even unhealthy. They're not getting the exercise and mental stimulation they need. So unless there's a specific reason your horse needs to be stabled, consider letting them roam a bit more freely. It's healthier, more natural, and just plain better for their well-being. So the next time someone tells you that horses can't remember you after a long time, or that they can't be left alone, you'll know better. Horses are a lot smarter, more emotionally complex, and more resilient than many people realize. Busting these myths isn't just about being right. It's about understanding the real nature of the horses we love, so we can care for them better. These misconceptions have held us back for years, but now you have the tools to change that. Want to learn more surprising truths about horses? Check out our last video on Does Your Horse Miss You When You Leave? And don't forget to subscribe for more myth-busting fun.